Furlough anxieties are surfacing as the hospitality sector feels the squeeze of Boris Johnson's new restrictions, with an economist warning Express.co.uk over mass redundancies after employers receive payoffs for keeping staff afloat. Workers across England were thrown into despair yesterday after Prime Minister Boris Johnson announced sweeping new restrictions amid a rise in coronavirus cases. It came as he said the UK has reached a perilous turning point. The biggest grievances have largely shifted onto the hospitality sector, with pubs, bars and restaurants now restricted to table service only and having to shut their doors at 10 p.m. Many now fear that the move will discourage revelers from visiting food and drink venues, which will drive sales down and force proprietors to lay off staff. Added to this is the fact that the furlough scheme is coming to an end on October 31. During the Prime Minister's statement to MPs, Labour leader Sir Keir Starmer praised Mr Johnson's decision to implement the new restrictions, although he poked holes in the dynamic behind the move, describing it as leaving a big gap. Sir Keir asked Mr Johnson what emergency support would be available to those who work in the hospitality sector and face potential unemployment, and said, "Does the Prime Minister accept that withdrawing the furlough scheme in one swoop will be a disaster, and actually at complete odds with the measures he's just announced for possibly up to 6 months? And will he take us up on the offer to work with him and trade unions and businesses on a replacement scheme that projects jobs and businesses?" Mr. Johnson in his reply made reference to the furlough scheme but failed to directly address how workers affected by the new restrictions will be aided going forward. Economists and finance experts have long warned that any notion of further restrictions or a second national lockdown could hit Britons far worse than the first time round, as the government currently has no plan to cushion economic fallout in the event. Many others, like Mark Littlewood, the Director General of the Institute of Economic Affairs (IEA), have pointed towards the government's plan to reward employers for keeping their staff on past the furlough scheme end date, a move which he told Express.co.uk would likely result in mass redundancies.